All right, welcome to the Lockdown Podcast. We are here to continue to break down Raw, SmackDown, and of course, most recently, Saturday Night Main Event. Um, I don't feel Saturday Night Main Event was really. It was kind of like in between a Raw and a PLE. Um, I don't think it was really that great, but we'll work our way to that. But so on Raw, we basically continue to have essentially this concoction of Judgment Day stuff mixed with Gunther. Um, and it basically seems to be like this triple threat, obviously that happened at main event is basically down to happen again. But it seems to be like Judgment Day and Damian Priest are basically butting heads, and Gunther's just kind of like, all right, well, I'll beat the crap out of both of you. Um, and so I think it's just kind of funny to kind of run that again. Like Gunther's just basically kind of laying in wake for everybody else to crumble while he does what he does and dominates. Um, but I mean, I think Gunther continuing to be champion, honestly, I feel like is a good push. I feel like honestly he's the most dominant champion right now. Um, I don't think Cody would. I mean, even though Cody won at Crown Jewel, I still don't buy Cody. He's better than Gunther. They said it on the PLE or whatever they want to call it that Gunther has been champion 80% of the time on his in his basically main event call up or his main roster call up. So I don't think they're going to be that percentage is going to get bigger and bigger as the weeks go on. So we've kind of gotten we're back to Wyatt Six kind of coming back again. Basically they were facing Final Testament with The Miz. We finally get a Paul Ellering back, kind of in a weird way. With the like he comes back and like throws all this powder or cocaine or whatever
Yeah.
whatever it could be or whatever they could list it as. But and so now we have the Wyatt Six kind of taking kind of almost being a regular tag team or a regular faction now, where like they're getting wins and losses. I mean, like, what do you guys think about like the Wyatt Six kind of almost kind of getting back into the flow, kind of like any other faction where they're taking W's, but they're also taking L's? Like, what do you guys think about that?
Me, I think they should take some L's, but not constantly be a dominant team to get all these wins. They have to have some losses, but I I like them. They're doing a great job. Their stories they're doing with their characters are great, and some of the feuds they've been having are great. But I just think they should stick with getting some L's for right now. To that right moment, then they can start getting some of the dubs.
Yeah, there's got to definitely be a balance between um, what they want to book them as and what our perception is. So yeah, I agree with Tim. Yeah, you know, take a couple of more L's, then get the wins when it's necessary to propel them forward. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, and I mean, and I liked when they show up and everything now, but it's just like the entrance has kind of lost its luster now. Um, because it's not like you're like, oh, here they come and shit's gonna happen, and like I think they almost need to simplify the entrance a little bit now. I think when they first came in and everything, and there was so much behind it, there was so much anticipation, and then now it's just like you just have a really long entrance, and I think that kills time. Um, you are obviously taking wins and losses here, so it's like you the beginning I could see the luster of having that cool entrance, but I feel like now you need to get back into they're just another group, sadly, and let's not have an Undertaker entrance on Raw. So But so I don't know why they had this even happen, but so you have Liv Morgan versus Dakota Kai for the belt. Obviously, we are like I don't like when they have matches that we already know aren't gonna they're already a done deal. We already know who's gonna win because they already have they have Saturday Night Event literally 4 or 5 days away. So why they're not gonna change plans all of a sudden? And obviously, Liv Morgan is the most obnoxious push wrestler in WWE right now, and they're not.
We could say at least there was no interference on both sides with both of them.
I mean,
Mm.
but
At least it was a fair match. They both put on a great show. Don't get me wrong; they both put on a great match.
yeah.
I liked it.
So now we continue with Seth Rollins and his absolute disdain for CM Punk, and now you have. I feel like Sami Zayn is and like as much as the depth of their relationship and their friendship they've had for 2 decades, I feel like this is not a good situation where like you don't want to be in Seth Rollins' way, Sammy. Like go do your thing, like and leave me the hell alone. Let me do what I'm gonna do. And I really don't like because obviously Sammy did the same thing to Roman, hit him back at the chair, and then all of a sudden now he's all of a sudden come back to be the savior for him again. Like after he's treated him like garbage and then kicks him out and then does all this stuff. And it's like Seth wants nothing to do with that. Like he's CM Punk focused still, even though CM Punk like seems to like think all of a sudden he's just, after I don't know, 5, 6 matches totally sad since he's been back. If that even. And so like that all of a sudden he feels like, oh, I'm gonna point at the WrestleMania, the non-existent WrestleMania sign, like that's where I wanna be. But like I don't feel like there's really a place for him. He could go to WrestleMania, but I don't think there's a place right now for him to fight for a title. And maybe that's me just hating on CM Punk, but I feel like he's only had like what 4 matches tops, maybe. I mean, he interjected whatever and joined the whole bloodline thing, and obviously more for Paul Heyman. But like, I don't feel like so we're in mid-December, almost to Christmas.
Right.
And you have Royal Rumble here in like monthish, and then you have like another month you have Elimination, and then you have WrestleMania, and I just don't feel like unless they're gonna all of a sudden fast track him into a story, like Gunther would destroy him.
I don't think so. I think personally, I don't think they're gonna give CM Punk a world title match at all this year at WrestleMania. I think they might give him a main event at WrestleMania, be most likely against Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, and then maybe next year at WrestleMania he might get a chance title. I don't think they'll do it this quick.
Well, and I don't see him winning Royal Rumble anyways.
No,
I mean,
No.
I honestly
I can see him making it to the last, down to the bout, like the last 4 or 5 people didn't get eliminated.
I think that's a good call. Like have him have a good showing, but yeah, I wouldn't put the belt on him, put the strap on him. It's not that, it's not about being for me, it's not about being a CM Punk hater. It's just that there's more compelling stories without CM Punk than there is with CM Punk. And anything that they do with CM Punk, it's going to feel like for me that they're trying to push CM Punk in such a way that makes people want to buy his merchandise and support him outside of the ring. So, yeah, again, I agree with Tim. It's like, yeah, maybe something will happen where he'll get a little bit of stuff. But he won't have like a WrestleMania like main event. He'll definitely have a match. And the crazy thing is that what if they do give him a WrestleMania match? Does that mean he's gonna wrap it up soon, his career? And go that route, So I think they're going to probably try to
but we also have
No
John Cena. So I mean, like,
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
there's only enough spotlight for one at this moment. And like Tim said, probably next year.
Mhm.
Because obviously we're on the the farewell tour essentially of John Cena. So I feel like we're gonna get John Cena from literally Netflix launch to, let's say, the Raw or SmackDown after WrestleMania, just to give his finals, you know. So yeah. So obviously, since Drew McIntyre came back, obviously there's man, there's so much to get to. But so obviously he beats the crap out of Sami Zayn, and justifiably so. You know what, Drew McIntyre, and in the little videos I've seen before about like this whole new Shield with like Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, and Kevin Owens, it just seems viable right now. Like I really think that these three people have a mutual disdain, for not only Roman Reigns, but obviously, CM Punk. Drew had issues with CM Punk. Seth has problems with CM Punk. I mean, Kevin Owens is just Kevin Owens. I mean, I think
Yeah.
this would be a great group to just like, let's put a bunch of people that are honestly bona fide studs, and let's just have them, run roughshod. I mean, if we can have Bloodline with no titles doing whatever they're doing, why can't we make another faction doing the same thing?
Agree.
Yeah.
You know,
I can see
if,
that.
if their cookbook consists of so many freaking groups all these times, why the hell not run it again? I'd do that if they had a shirt. If it was like Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, and Kevin Owens, if they had a shirt, I would buy it. Like, that merch would sell because now you have people that are massive Drew McIntyre, they're massive Seth Rollins, they're massive Kevin Owens. Like, let's put them in a group and let them just freaking see what happens.
Right.
But so now we're into the we obviously have the finals for well, after SmackDown we talk about that, but like, so we're still working our way into the Intercontinental women's title picture tournament, whatever. So you have Lyra Valkyria defeats Zelina Vega and Ivy Nile to progress in the tournament. And again, like I said before, it was like it's 3 and then 1 and then 3 into 1. So you have the one-on-one here, and then the final. So it's not always a triple threat for the title. If that was to put as many women as in the tournament as possible. So I am honestly, since again I'm probably the NXT expert here, but like, I've watched Lyra Valkyria honestly from NXT till now, and she has just a presence about her that almost parallel to like Becky Lynch, um, just in the sense of like when she was in NXT, like she was a star, she was like absolute like super great matches, super talented, has some good finishing moves, has some good secondary moves. I honestly, this is just me predicting what I want to happen, but I honestly think like Lyra Valkyria IC champion, I would buy that. I don't think there's anyone more deserving. I mean, she has really, I mean, because a lot of these people have gone through like the turmoil of NXT and storylines there, and then obviously she came, to the main roster. Kind of came out the gate strong, kind of fizzled down a little bit. I feel like this is the next push, I guess, for her. But again, that's just me. But man, freaking weather here sucks. But we're all freaking sniffles.
Right.
But yeah, and so that's basically, I mean, this is kind of the beginning of the IC, um, tournament and everything. So obviously there's plenty left. So we had New Day, obviously the whole 10-year anniversary thing, prior week. And, they had their whole segment, the whole thing with Big E. And so then this past week, we basically get New Day coming out into what I haven't seen in a long time. Like, So New Day comes out to explain themselves, and they get Dominic Mysterio booed. Okay, like absolute disdain for them
Yeah,
now.
you couldn't even hear anything that came out their mouths.
No, I mean they got full
Mm.
Dominic Mysterio booed. Like I thought that was only Dominic Mysterio's shtick, but like, man,
I bet you
like what?
Dominic's in the back's like, you just stole that from me.
It's like, yes,
Gimmick
fuck off.
infringement.
Hopefully you can keep it. I don't want it.
Right.
Now you know how I feel.
Yeah.
But no, like I thought honestly, like this whole like heel turn or whatever you want to call it for them, I think it's just good.
It
Like
is. It's good for
it
business.
just it's just adding another layer to the New Day, and I'm all for it. I think heel turns are great. I think heel turns help character building, and let's say you go heel for a while and then all of a sudden you kind of turn face or something, and obviously like then all of a sudden you're beloved again because you've done something nice. So I mean,
Yeah, they used to
you
say
know,
they were heel before when they had Big E, and they got booed. Not as bad as this time around.
No, this, you can't turn your back on a bro that's hurt. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We've always talked about the logic behind it, but man, that's just shows you how much love Big E gets. Dude breaks his neck and takes away his career. He thought he had his brothers, his boys, and all of a sudden, nope, you ain't with us no more. And they're just like, and he's just standing there, dejected, puppy dog face. Man, sucks to be them two, for real. I would not want to be I would not want to be associated with the New Day. And can someone please explain to me the beef that R-Truth has with Xavier Woods? Because that's a match that needs to happen.
yeah.
That's all.
But no, I honestly I think honestly they obviously it's great storytelling, but I mean they have valid points. Because like you had all these other wrestlers that have had broken necks and coming back, but like the fact of the matter is that like all of a sudden he could have like been their manager for obviously that's not how they wrote the story, but like he could have been their manager for the last year, and obviously them protecting him, obviously if he get hurt, stuff like that, which is fine. They can do that. But it's like they haven't had him part of the group for so long that like you want to come back now? Like, and who knows if you'll ever be cleared. So like, and so like I think it's more like you're coming back after all of a sudden we're about to like end the group or something, and all of a sudden now you want to step in, but you've had plenty of time at your desk contemplating these thoughts. So
I will always fall back on it wasn't always his call. You know what I'm saying? I will always, and with this scenario, people are saying like, oh, now you want to come back, and having your side, taking like the New Day side. My personal feeling is that the type of injury that he had is different than the type of injury Kurt Angle had. You know what I'm
right,
saying? It's two different types of broken necks.
right,
Two, look at all the people who did not come back from a broken neck.
right,
There was a
You know
lot.
what? And you think with Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley at on the front lines, he's gonna let a beloved entity, a character, a person, both backstage and in front of the camera, like get hurt, or take a bump or have something happen to him when he
Well,
had to sit and watch like one of his closest friends, Droz, the late Droz, have his career taken away and be in a wheelchair for the rest of his life, and only recently just passed away after so many years of being like a paraplegic or quadriplegic. I mean, no, man, it was not his call. That came from, if you want to blame anybody for not letting Big E get it back into the whole mix of things, start with Adam Pearce. No, I don't want you to get hurt. Start with go to Triple H, then go all the way to the top. You go to Nick Khan. Nick Khan is like, I'm not paying nobody no extra money. Who can we cut? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So yeah,
I blame Ridge Holland. Okay, like
we can blame Rich
like,
Holland for the accident.
but I think honestly though, like I think the reason why it's justified for them to basically have this is because this is a different recipe for the New Day. And I think that we've had them by themselves for so long that it was only fitting for Big E to come back all of a sudden when they're about to say we're done. And then that basically brought Kofi and Xavier back together because they're both like, oh, where you been? And obviously, like, this is only on TV that we're seeing this stuff, but
Right.
but I really feel like it makes sense to basically rebook the New Day to kind of put them in a different direction. And now I feel like we're finally getting New Day without like the positivity nonsense. Like we're getting them to the next step, and we're finally saying like, yeah, we're not about what the New Day was with Big E, and now we're moving on.
I want to see if Paul Heyman's prediction comes true about Big E. Let this reincarnation of the New Day exist, but Big E does come back, and he is medically cleared, and he can take a bump. He is then he changes his wrestling. He's a protected, person in the ring. People take care of him, and his career and his persona grows beyond what was in the New Day. I would like to see Paul Heyman's prediction come true. And and let the New Day just be what it is. It's we had that 10-year run of that positive experience.
The gimmick. I mean,
yeah, and let it change and evolve, like you're saying. But for me and my positioning and how I am viewing kayfabe is like, your argument is, oh, you didn't want to come back. My argument is he wasn't allowed to come back. It's a lot deeper than that. And if we were to take what WWE has been doing over the last couple of years with layering the stories, I would not be surprised if it comes out, that, joke's on you, Kofi and Xavier, we told him not to, or he didn't have a job,
right.
and let it be like, oh man, I think we made a mistake. We blamed him,
or for all intents purposes, maybe let's just say hypothetically, Big E's cleared, right? Hypothetically.
Okay.
And maybe, just maybe, he beats the crap out of both of them and just leaves them in the ring and says, oh, you're going to leave me? Well, I'm leaving you. And he just and I think that would, you know what I'm saying? I think that'd be a crazy turn because
that would be a turn, because then it would be like, who really was the heel?
Exactly.
I like that. So,
because that would just that would be a pop and a response like no other. Like maybe in all of this, maybe New Day is still being faced. Maybe they're just being honest faces, and maybe we just all of a sudden, let's say they go for a tag title match here in the 6-month future, whatever, and then we get Big E comes in and just takes him out. It's a DQ match, whatever, and he comes out and maybe he's the heel. Maybe he comes out in his OG gear, like the black gear, like NXT Big E, or and so maybe we'll get
that Big E. That Big E was a problem.
Heel, man. And so
definitely was.
You know,
Mm,
so like I think that would be the bit that I would chomp at the bits if it actually happened.
yeah, I
Like
think I would enjoy that. Um, I think
I'm
I would
gonna
enjoy that. Yeah,
share this video to Triple H.
yeah,
Um,
definitely do that. You
but
know,
so we'll basically get back to that stuff. But so Rhea defeats Raquel. Go figure. I mean, in an anything goes match, I swear they repurpose and they rename a no DQ match, right? Like I'm so sick of them just calling it a no disqualification match and leave it at that. Stop giving it schwanky names like Donnybrook matches or street fights or whatever. It's like, dude, you're just trying to jazz up the same match. Like, and I get it.
you
Certain
know.
times, like the Sin City Street Fight, or like if they like give it like a city purpose name, I understand
Mhm.
that. But an anything goes match, wow. So basically, a no disqualification match. But
I don't hate on them, but I see your point and I acknowledge your point. I guess I don't hate it, but I get what you're saying. And I could go either way with
it's
it.
yeah.
It's
I mean,
like yeah,
it's just kind of annoying. Like it's like they they try to basically name something just for S and Gs and like if they just said, yep, they're in a no disqualification match or a false count anywhere match or whatever, like I'm all for that, but just stop giving us stupid names. But so we'll skip over to Schmack You Down. So we have obviously we're on the outs of war games. Um, a lot of injuries happened at war games. Let's be real. It was legit war. You had Bronson Reed basically break out his freaking legs, ankles. Jimmy Uso basically has a broken toe. And so, I mean, a lot.
now a broken
Like,
jaw.
yeah. So, yeah, I was waiting for that to happen because, like, I, I think honestly, the way Drew McIntyre's going, it's like he's very Randy Orton, like super mega heelish, right? Like he's hitting claymores out of nowhere, right?
Mhm.
Like he's gonna take the like I don't know, like passing the torch, right? Like I feel like Randy Orton has passed the torch to Drew McIntyre, like, and now we're getting claymores out of nowhere because even in his matches, you're getting claymores out of nowhere. But yeah, I
Oh yeah.
mean, if you want to look at the actual imagery, because I'd chalk it up to WWE, like in their cameraman and the photo shoots and everything, like in the can't like the it's amazing, like legit. You have Drew, like let me just set the scene for it. So you have Drew McIntyre in full like Claymore, and you have Jimmy or Big Jim getting the big like freaking clay. Like, I mean, ow, like that literally. Like, I'm sorry, some of the Claymore stuff, man. I feel like sometimes he hits legit, like, because
You
that's a
could it
move.
sounds like you could hear it how hard he hits.
Like, I mean, like it, like, and you see Jimmy's face, and he's just like, like and so he tries to come out and talk whatever and talk about how he's he'll be back blah blah
Yeah, his big toe is
and then you're
broken.
like well Drew comes Drew McIntyre to spoil everybody. I love Drew McIntyre. I love his chip on his shoulder. I love his attitude. I love how he presents his issues. I look forward to what Drew McIntyre is bringing back, um, being back. Yeah, and the thing is that the chip he has on his shoulder is justified. Like, and so, oh man. Well, let's see, let's see what they do with Drew McIntyre on Friday because he's coming out and doing what Drew McIntyre does. And
Mhm.
I just wonder who in the blue freaking blazes is gonna come out there and interrupt Drew McIntyre because I don't think you want to.
Besides, see a Punk would.
Stay on your brand. I want Carmelo Hayes to come out, even though he just on Friday he basically
He got his ass kicked by Braun Strowman.
Yeah, and so, but again, I love Carmelo Hayes. I in NXT he was an absolute stud. I love him even on SmackDown, even the little parts he plays, because he has ruthless aggression. Like he has an attitude about himself, and he has an ego, which I love. I think.
Yeah, I mean,
I did too. And plus the face he made when Braun Strowman came out when his music hit, his face was like, "Oh shit!"
I mean, I think anybody that sees Braun Strowman come out is like, "Well, it was good
well done. Well, it's nice knowing you guys.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna be a bug here on the mat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, dude. I can only honestly, in all seriousness, the whole power bomb that he does, I wouldn't want that. And and that's the thing, is he slams you into the mat. The running power slam. He runs
why so
that.
aggressive? I mean, I would have to tell him no, don't no. You be gentle. There's just no way. I mean, I'm up in the air. You're up in the air. You're landing on top of me. I'm a wrestling sandwich now. You got Canvas, you got me, then you got Big Meat, and you know what? He doesn't. There needs not to be any extra emphasis.
So
none.
Like Booker T, that's a whole lot of meat. I tell you, dude, listening to him commentate on NXT, he says things that I'm just like, really? And so see rabbit trails. So Booker T, if he talked like a normal person and didn't sound so raspy like he'd been smoking cigarettes before he went on, I'd be it. Why can't you just commentate? It's he just talks and he has a rasp to it, and I just it's too much.
I like Booker T when he commentates, because it is this country. It's this. He's got this country sound to him, where if he wasn't in the commentating booth, or sitting on commentary, he wasn't doing anything with wrestling, he would be out somewhere telling big stories in the country, doing some type of manual labor work, and he would sound exactly the same. I don't think Booker T Booker T does promos. He just tells you what he's going to do.
Pretty much.
It's just
pretty damn.
It's just
I'm gonna build some hay 5 times.
It's
that's the Booker T character, and we'll just go with it, I guess.
It's just
I'm gonna swerve back onto the main road after I totally sidetrack us again, which is I don't even
it's going to happen.
I swear. I'm supposed to be the host and the whole making the show run, and yet I'm the first one to go down rabbit trails. I'm the first one to
have rants.
Yep.
Oh, I'm the ranting legend, darn it. So, but I will swing us back on the road here. So we had basically the finals of to determine the people, but so Michin defeats Tiffany Stratton for the Women's United States tournament. So you basically had Michin and Chelsea Green at the end. On Saturday, we'll get to that. Now, do you think, right or wrong, because it's Tiffany Stratton essentially has been holding the women's Money in the Bank thing for quite some time, kind of little irkings of possible cash-ins, but when do you it's so confusing to when is she gonna cash in, because you have Nia Jax that's kind of running what I would say kind of mid-ish title reign, and then you have, I mean, like Nia Jax has been dominant. Liv Morgan has been like handheld. I mean, she's, you know, but when is she gonna pull the freaking trigger? I really, it's
I would
almost,
not.
it's like almost annoying right now. Like,
Yeah, I if I had to guess, it's at least the absolute soonest we would get her to do a cash in would be that first episode of Netflix, for some strange reason. And it wouldn't be for Nia Jax, it would be for someone else, right? That would be the absolute soonest that we would see an actual cash in. I think either Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. We've just got it. It's only a few months away, 4 or 5 months away, and yeah, I don't see her not cashing in legitimately and having a match for a championship until at earliest that first
Yeah.
Netflix show. Otherwise, buckle up, Buttercup. We're here for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, it's the wait and see game, I guess. But so speaking of Carmelo Hayes getting absolutely obliterated by Braun Strowman, but man, I still want to push for Braun Strowman. I feel like you can't have him be the monster of all monsters and basically be continually in the mid card. I mean, obviously they did push him for a hot second, but like it's he's a larger than life character that you haven't really done anything with. I mean, come on, you won tag belts at WrestleMania with that referee's son. I mean, like, if like, how are you gonna have this monster among monsters just kind of be getting just kind of mitted out? And I don't like that. But anywho,
I I think with anything, it's kind of like, the wait and see, the bide your time. He could easily step into like the Bronson Reed role and get that push, but I don't think he's a good fit for like a championship right now, but I think he can definitely play spoiler, and he can play monster and really like do some damage to people and be like an equalizer, or just be like a spectacle. You know what I'm saying? So I don't mind him not going after championships and just having these squash matches. And he doesn't need to be on TV every week, but definitely give him, if you wanted to give him a story, give him a story where it's like, where his size matters, you
right?
know, you know, and that's kind of my take. But
Yeah. So we have this weird kind of thing with LA Knight and the Bloodline now. I feel like it's a kind of a weird because it's only one person kind of having beef with them again, and it feels like it's kind of a, I don't know how to really put it, because obviously LA Knight's not gonna do anything, considering 2 or 3 quarters of the Bloodline is literally around. So like, obviously it's a shoe in for him to, obviously, I mean, it's a no contest, but obviously it's Jacob Fatu again, and man, Jacob Fatu is something different, and he's something special. I really hope they do not miss the mark and give him the opportunity to do his own thing, because I really think as much as he shines in the Bloodline, I
Mhm.
honestly could see him going Gunther level singles competition.
Right.
Totally agree.
And I feel like the Bloodline is, even though we have him in dominant spots, he's getting held back by Solo. Then definitely by. So like,
Is he being held back, or do you think he's being overlooked because of those two?
Well, I mean,
because obviously Solo is like that, is that focal point of the Bloodline 2.0. And then you've got Tama, who's just he is his own energy, just like Jacob Fatu. I think they're not gonna miss with Jacob Fatu, but they've got to give him time. You can't.
But I mean, the thing is, but he already has that presence and that experience and that ring IQ and that dominance. And it's
Mhm.
like to put him in a faction to be the enforcer, like he's a way better enforcer than Solo ever was.
Right.
And he's
That is
he
straight up true.
and
Yeah.
he is a bigger X factor than anybody in that faction, period.
Yeah.
Like, and I really think, we're supposed to. So basically on SmackDown, we'll kind of jump ahead a little bit, but like, so Roman basically is lobbying for a match with Solo and just Solo, a straight up one-on-one for the Ulafala. And basically, obviously, we'll find out, maybe Friday what Solo's response is.
Mhm.
But like, I mean, I think that is the match that is definitely worthy of the Netflix kickoff. Um, and so that's his challenge he threw out. And I think that maybe this would be the fast tracked destruction of Bloodline 2.0.
Right.
I mean, and maybe I'm jumping the gun, but like I feel like if Solo loses to Roman again, like I think the Tama Tonga Tongaloa, Jacob are literally gonna be like, because I mean they've been saying that losses have consequences. And if he loses again to Roman, I feel like that would be the fast track to the dismantleization of Bloodline 2.0. And
Yep.
and maybe in like I feel like that would be the easiest way to move along. And maybe Solo does his own thing by himself, and Tongaloa and Tonga maybe do their own thing, and everybody dismantles. And maybe that's not the quick way it's going to happen, but I definitely think if Solo Sikoa loses to Roman Reigns again for the Ulafala, you might see a change in loyalty. And again, this is not I wouldn't say this is the fast track to Bloodline 2.0 dismantling, but I definitely think it's another step closer. So, I mean,
Agree.
so it's one of those things where you're gonna start seeing cracks form because I mean Bloodline 2.0 is reliant on the Ulafala and him being the tribal chief, self-appointed, but like that is the shtick. That is the whole reason why they're following Solo. And that that he basically appointed himself versus getting crowned or appointed like Roman was by his uncle and his grandfather. And so like and it's different when he got it because Solo just kind of took it one day and then that was it. And so really Solo's and I've said this for way too much time is that there's nothing for me to acknowledge about Solo. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he's just this guy who wants you to acknowledge him for what? Like at least Tama Tonga Tongaloa won titles. Like Jacob could easily go win a title.
Technically, he did win a title. He did win a tag team title, but Solo made him give it up because he was hurt.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so essentially Solo, the one we're supposed to be acknowledging, hasn't done anything for the group. Like, why is everybody else doing so? Then you want me to acknowledge you for what? We acknowledge Roman because he literally was champ for damn near 4 years, and yeah, he wrestled like 4 or 5 PLEs a year, but you know what though? But he was a draw, and he dominated. He stacked them, and he won in dominant fashion every time he was out there.
Yeah, but Solo, since he's been on the main roster, hasn't even won a title at all. He only won titles in NXT, and that's about it.
And that was even for a hot second because they actually pulled it. They said it was an
Yep.
unsanctioned match. So technically, Solo hasn't done anything. So I'm not acknowledging anything, Solo. Acknowledging nothing. But yeah, so I mean, we'll see what happens. I really feel like if Solo accepts this match, I feel like this is
Oh, he will.
one, another foot in the outs for Solo. So, so we have basically the other match with Chelsea Green defeating Bayley to basically advance to the Women's United States title tournament, which obviously now you basically have Michin versus Chelsea Green for the title. And honestly, like I was saying before, is that you do not put this prestigious title on a top tier wrestler. You put it on one of your basically your best mid card wrestler, and so that's why the people that are in the tournament that are going to the finals are in the tournament, because we don't need someone who's had the women's world title in this secondary title picture. So basically we have Raw. Actually, we continue to have more Kevin Owens and Cody stuff, and Kevin's a little bitch. Okay, he can't fight Cody straight up. He's always coming from other directions and yada yada. And I really I'm not liking Kevin Owens' bit right now. I'm just not. I'm not with it. I'm not with it at all. I really think that these car segments and all this stuff is just stupid, and then he shows up whenever he wants, and I'm not buying it. Obviously we get the culmination at Saturday Night Main Event with Cody versus Kevin, but like obviously we know we already have Cody predicted till WrestleMania. So like every match he has is stupid, and we already know the outcome. I absolutely hate when they kind of foreshadow like where they're going to be at WrestleMania or the next PLE or the next month or the next week. Because like if that's how it's going to go, we already know the outcome, right? Because essentially Cody's holding that thing till WrestleMania. And here's my pipe bomb. Roman wins the Royal Rumble, goes and gets back his title. Because Roman hasn't been in a Royal Rumble in a long time because he never had to be. And I think Roman being I say Roman being number 30. And maybe and I've heard this thing before about The Rock having pull and The Rock being 31. And so I think if The Rock does interject himself,
He will.
Roman tosses The Rock out at the end, and we get that rematch of Roman versus Cody, and Roman wins his title back. Because I, much like a lot of people, aren't buying Cody as a champion. Like he's just too nice. Like
just wait for heel Cody. Just wait for.
Cody. But if we get
it's coming.
But the thing is, if we get black-haired Cody, like when
it'll be so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, Pontiff, ideally that'd be more fun, but we're probably not going to. Yeah. We're gonna get this soft baby face, freaking blonde-haired, freaking tattoo neck, walking in with his dog, freaking Cody Rhodes. So like, I that's what I want if I'm being honest, because I want my tribal chief back. Okay. I want him to do what he does, because wherever he goes, he's the big dog. It's his yard. Like Roman has that. Roman has the X factor. He has the presence, and I want that back. Like I know they still want this whole The Rock stuff to happen. The Rock needs to stay in the office and shut his freaking mouth. I don't want any. I want The Rock.
Damn
in,
right.
I want The Rock and not involved in any of the business. You're ruining the current roster by interjecting yourself into matches that even Bubba Ray said, I don't want to take spots from other wrestlers. So,
but it happens. And if The Rock wasn't a draw and he was just a higher ups favorite, you know what I'm saying? I think the position that you're
but he is a
taking,
higher up now. So now he's just glorifying himself.
you know what? But he's still a draw. He is still a draw. All right. I would want to see The Rock in a match with Roman when it makes sense and it doesn't impede on the progress of other performers. Probably SummerSlam. If not in WrestleMania season, I would do it in SummerSlam, and I would give it a slow build, and I would let it burn and fester to the point where people are just really wanting that match, and they're just dying to see it because The Rock is a draw, and I believe 100% that's what we'll get. But also, if we get it now and we get it done and over with, then we don't have to look forward to The Rock interjecting anymore into pausing anyone else's progress and creating new characters. The Rock will kind of taper off, and it'll be gone. It'll be done.
I mean, and that's the thing. I honestly think, yeah, SummerSlam makes the most sense just because the John Cena stuff going on, right? Like we want to let this chapter end. And yeah, I mean, The Rock can have a match with Roman because that's the only one that makes sense, or Cody, or let's just book this out. So let's say, okay, Roman wins against Cody. And let's say Roman wins the Royal Rumble. Roman beats Cody, and let's say we get a Cody, so a non-title Cody,
right,
versus The Rock at leading up to SummerSlam, maybe. And maybe we get, I don't know what's in between all of that. Let's say we get that match, and then we get eventually like a SummerSlam. Maybe we get, Roman putting the title on against The Rock and beating The Rock and establishing himself as a tribal chief, the head of the table, and The Rock can just go back to the office.
Yeah, I mean, so do we have another long-term Roman Reigns run, or do we have something that builds someone else to like be that void? Because I don't see Roman Reigns continuing these types of long-term stories past next year. I mean, I think, yeah, that's just kind of how I feel about it. I think we've got to start building some other people like the Tama Tonga, like Jacob Fatu, like Solo Sikoa, like individual. We've got to. I think.
So apparently,
either one of us had mentioned what happens to the future bloodline. How do we build them up? Eventually we're going to get a Solo Sikoa that has a singles championship. We're gonna get Jacob Fatu, and we're gonna get Tama Tonga. In some capacity, those three people are going to be a world champion of some sort. I mean, they wouldn't have given Solo this type of story if there wasn't a future for him. And
right.
Yeah, so I mean,
so
unfortunately, we just got to deal with The Rock right now.
So it looks like we do have a Saturday night main event in January.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like maybe that could be just not really a PLE, but enough to put something in it. Because it's basically let's see what the date is, because it's the 25th, and so it's what, 25th. So yeah, I mean you're literally, man. So the Saturday night main event is actually a week before Royal Rumble, which is actually very juicy because like that's a week before it, and so like maybe we get something then, like because I feel like, I mean, obviously, like, okay, so right now as it sits, obviously we finish off with what we have, and so you have Saturday Night Main Event is essentially the first actual PLE-ish event we have in the new year outside of the kickoff to Netflix. So that's really interesting because that just kind of puts something big in the middle of everything, because so you have the kickoff at Netflix on the 6th, and then you literally have like 3 weeks later, you have Saturday Night Main Event, and then a week later from that, you have Royal Rumble. Like, that's a lot to pack in and a lot of stories we could get. Because, like, the Netflix launch is going to obviously, like, put something, definitely we're going to get a lot at that show, right? So, man, like, with that much going on in that little of time, man, like, literally January is going to be so packed.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely just stacked to the gill. So, I mean, that's just kind of crazy to think of. The first 32 days of January, of the whole year, is going to be action packed. That's nuts.
Right.
Like, now that I'm
And I
looking
think
at that,
it sets us up really well for WrestleMania season. And again, I think it's the ebb and flow. I think we're kind of maybe at a lull a little bit. The pacing of it. I just took a look at someone else, and they mentioned the Triple H era pacing of matches and how he's booking and leading the creative. I think it's a law. We can't have everything that we want right then and there, because it doesn't bode well for the stories going forward. It's I think it is just a psychology thing. It's not even a cookbook thing. It is just a psychology thing. If we got everything that we wanted, what's there to look forward to? I mean,
right.
Right. True.
And we've got to get through all these other things. We got CM Punk in the background. We've got up and comers from NXT coming up. We've got brand new championships for women. We've got all kinds of dysfunction. We still got to deal with The Rock. We've got John Cena. There's so much to digest,
Yeah.
and it's hard to stay focused on one particular story, because there's so many different things being thrown at us. We've got this whole Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens time suck. It seems like, there's just so much for people to pick and choose what they want to follow, what they don't want to follow, and what they want to really give their attention. And it's just like, if everything came to a head and just ended right at the Netflix show, the very first Netflix show, what do we have to build up towards for WrestleMania? I mean, then it's just week to week booking then. And we know, and we all have an opinion about week to week booking. Not to go off on any rabbit holes or tangents or anything like that.
It's you must.
No, I do not. I think
he's avoiding it.
I am. This is just probably one of those slow seasons. It's just the slow season, because
it's just a lot in essentially starting from. So essentially we have Friday Night SmackDowns technically starts on January 3rd, right? And then obviously you have the kickoff from Netflix on the 6th. So it's now that I'm kind of like mapping it out and thinking of like, a lot of times we have like months of build to things, but now here we sit with January 6th Netflix kickoff for Raw, and then so we have 1, 2, 3, we have 4 weeks till Royal Rumble. 4 weeks. That's it. That's a lot going on. Plus, so you have the Netflix kickoff, you have Saturday main event, and then the next week you have Royal Rumble. Like I like this pace because like now we're gonna get a lot more definitive answers a lot quicker now, at least going into what we in the wrestling world call the road to WrestleMania. So now we basically have this crazy 4-week window that's gonna push us like and honestly in WrestleMania isn't even till like mid-April. It's usually the beginning of April, so it's kind of a little bit different. So like now, we're kind of digesting a lot in a short period of time. And like I'm gonna be fed for like a couple weeks, Like I mean, we're getting legit like steak, right now with literally 4 weeks of just nonstop. And obviously like that season will basically push us into obviously season 3 of the Lockdown podcast. So like I really think like season 3, I feel like because there's so much going on, there's so many stories and there's so much everything, like we get to literally just kind of push through because I really feel like I'm not gonna lisp. But but no, like I really feel like this is gonna be like, obviously we'll be in essentially the next year of it. Obviously, since season 3 will basically be the start of the second year of the podcast. And like I'm looking forward to it because now that we've kind of established like our likes and our dislikes and the vibe of everything of the show, like literally next year is gonna be awesome. Because I feel like
I'm ready for it.
We've settled in, we've said our things. I've had to edit myself more times than you guys know. and like it, I love it. I honestly do love it. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, so not to get all emotional. but so let's run down main event. So you have Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, you have Damian Priest versus Finn Balor and Gunther. You have Io Sky versus Liv Morgan. You have Michin versus Chelsea Green for the finals of the Women's United States Championship tournament. And then Sami and Drew McIntyre. I could not recall the actual order of these, so I'll just go over them as they come to me.
I remember the order of them.
All right, tell us the order, Tim.
Doesn't say. It was Drew and Sami at first match. And then the next match was the Women's Championship. And then after that, it was Chelsea's match, then Gunter's match, and then Kevin Owens.
So, like, man. So, like, what are your thoughts? Let's just kind of run it down. So, obviously, Sami and Drew was obviously pretty much a shoo-in, but
it was a good match. I liked it. Wasn't the best.
No.
I already knew who was going to come out winning that one.
Oh, it's a go figure moment. But so I honestly like CBS Sports. They're usually pretty on top of things. Yeah, so I mean, they rated it a B. I think that's accurate. I don't think it was explosive. Now Liv Morgan and Io Sky, obviously Liv wins. They say B-. I say like C-.
I'm
gonna give it a C.
Even though like Liv's title reign is below mid. Okay, Without
Yeesh.
the Judgment Day, she's not even in the company. Okay, she's not, like she's obnoxious.
Oh,
And yes, that's a
she's
shtick.
in the company, but she's not in like a.
She's on main event. Okay, that's like she's not there, but like I feel like this is just a ply of let's just cook the same pancakes every week
Mhm.
and like have complacent matches because I'm not enamored at her matches. It's honestly boring. And the fact that she's in the Judgment Day, her having the title is the only relevancy she has. I'm just
Mm.
waiting for Raquel to turn on her.
Turn on her and take that title from her because she
Yeah.
deserves the title.
Yeah, it's Raquel Rodriguez should not play second fiddle to anybody.
No.
Period.
No, you're right. She shouldn't.
I just really think that it's just boring. Like her whole thing, coming out with Dominic and all these stupid shirts and stupid everything. Like I don't like it. It's boring. Like this is like the weakest Judgment Day. You have the strongest Judgment Day was the OG, with Edge, Damian, and Rhea.
Yeah,
And
that was a powerhouse.
And then the second is when Rhea and Damian basically ran the group. And then you have what we have now. Like, what we have now, the Judgment Day, is like leftover lasagna, okay? Like,
Leftover lasagna is still delicious.
Yeah,
and you're
that's
telling
true.
me
oh, okay, fine. Moldy, fine. Cereal that's been sitting in the milk too long.
okay,
No, that'd be cereal in water.
even more okay.
Oh, man. Sorry, that just makes me think of Friday. We got enough milk. Put some water on it.
Just force water in, it'd be fine.
Oh,
Oh.
geez. But
I trust. All I can say, I
we've-
have tried that once, and it's nasty.
we've
Yeah.
spent more time on metaphors for Judgment Day than actually giving a shit about the Judgment Day. So,
Pretty much.
but okay, so triple threat: Gunther, Finn, Damian. Man, this did not disappoint. Like, they graded a B. I would say like an A. Honestly, I think a B would be accurate. I think like I'm kind of over triple threats for the titles, especially like they just kind of threw Damian in there when it was supposed to be Finn Balor versus Gunther. But obviously, I mean, Gunther dominated.
Oh yeah.
And this is why I say like Gunther is the top champion of the company, period. Like Cody won against him at Crown Jewel because they wanted the nice person to win, right?
And plus his family hasn't won a championship over out of the States.
And honestly, and like the same thing goes for Liv winning against Nia Jax. I want Nia Jax.
I want Nia Jax.
I'm sorry. That is the most lopsided match win I've ever seen in my life. You're telling me the dominant, immovable force loses to Skinny Minnie?
Facts. Yep.
Like,
you know what?
Like, seriously,
that show wasn't for us. That show was not for us. That show was specifically to honor contractual obligations.
They could have just done freaking anything. They could
not when someone's paying you that much money. Whatever you want. I mean,
I hate it.
Yeah,
I
know what?
Take that ring and make her freaking swallow it.
You know what? that might be editable. That might be.
No edit. I want Liv Morgan to choke on her freaking crown jewel ring. Period. I don't like you. I don't like you. I don't like you. I don't like you.
I'm not in this. I'm out of this.
I don't want you to choke and die. I just
it's
want
all
you
him.
To sit in your stomach.
All him.
Send all messages.
We have 29 subscribers plus you guys. So if anybody wants to turn me in, whatever, man. I don't care. Seriously, it's not like I'm a millionaire on this podcast. Okay, so suck it. Anyway, we don't hold back. Okay, I can also tell you, not
No,
me,
no.
me.
You don't hold back. We are trying desperately.
He's trying to hold you back.
No, no one can hold me back. Nobody.
Apparently not.
Oh, so yeah.
I would
So
laugh my
you
ass
have.
off if she saw this.
No.
I'm good. Tag me in a post.
She'll put you on Instagram post.
Whatever. I got
story.
famous. I got famous for hating on her. But so anyways, I digress. So Chelsea Green Meechin for the women's they said vacant women's championship. It's the inaugural. Gosh, get
you
your
know
freaking
what?
terminology right.
But yeah. Whatever.
So Chelsea Green wins, and they rate B minus. I say A freaking plus. Okay.
You know what? Yeah. I mean,
Like I said before, they need the best of the secondary title holders, and Chelsea Green fits it to a bone. She's had a chip on her shoulder since she's come back. She's an egomaniac, but now she has a reason to have an ego. So I love it. I think it's awesome. I think again, holding the secondary titles is definitely it's going to be more entertaining moving forward than the actual championships. I really believe that with my whole heart is that because we get these secondary titles where like they're defended more, we have more at stake in matches versus basically when we get the championship defended like once every couple months or something. I mean, but so now we get to the meat and potatoes. Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes, match. I mean, the match was decent. The off camera was too much. Obviously, Cody retains, but Kevin, in a fit of crybaby, bitching, moaning, rage, decides to give Cody I would say an old school pile driver versus, Undertaker pile driver. But so let's talk about it. Too far. I think we can all agree on that.
I think the antics, the temper tantrum antics of Kevin Owens, it pushes his characters being unhinged. Do I think it's too far? Yes, but I also think it's like part of the recipe, part of the cookbook, where they have like an unhinged person whose jealousy couldn't get it done, attack, the baby face.
So Drew McIntyre 2.0.
Yeah, but the thing with Drew McIntyre is that he can take a loss. He just takes his frustrations out on that loss on everybody else. Kevin Owens is, when he feels that he is wronged, his character flaw is that he doesn't know when he's wrong, and if someone has a transgression against him or he slights them, they are the worst of the worst, even though if Kevin were to do it, it's okay. So do I think it took it too far? I think
maybe WWE took it too far.
Maybe I'm over Kevin Owens and his temper tantrums and the irrational the irrational thinking of why Cody is his enemy now. I think that is kind of too far, because it doesn't make Kevin look sane at all. In my opinion, it's like, whatevs, so he teamed up with someone that you got beef with. I mean,
right.
You got beef with that person, not him.
Yeah, it's a one-sided, situation. Yeah, but like you said though, is it's like, it's Kevin Owens is like, okay, I'm gonna get mad at that person. Drew McIntyre is more like anybody in my wake, you're getting wrecked. But like,
Yeah.
I just think that, like you said, this is kind of this is just the character tryout, I guess you can say, of this new Kevin Owens. Kind of being unhinged.
But
Kind
we've
of,
seen this Kevin Owens before.
yeah.
The time that comes to mind immediately is Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. We've
You made the
seen this.
list.
Yep,
You made the list.
we've seen this unhinged Kevin Owens.
This is definitely more severe though.
Yeah, it's definitely, to me, it is definitely something that you can talk about this character depth and you can talk about the layers to it. And I chalk it up to someone who, as a character, analyzing this character, he's in, the waning years, or he's in that state in his career where I don't know if I can get it done anymore. I don't know if I'll ever be champion again. I need to get another championship. What relevancy will I have if I don't have a championship? Um, then you turn around and you lose twice to the same person. And it's just like you can't get over that and you can't fathom how you lose. And then you just snap. I mean, Seth Rollins, correct me if I'm wrong, lost 3 times to Cody Rhodes in his first year back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Three times.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Seth never
Well, and yeah, you have to
lost
know
his
how to
marbles about it.
lose. Like
Yeah.
it's
And it just shows that Kevin Owens is a sore loser. Not only is he a sore loser, he's the type of person, if you were to act out like this in non-professional wrestling life, you would get arrested. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? If you were to take away the kayfabe about it, you know what I'm saying? We've all seen like those videos where a wrestler gets beat and he like socks his opponent, or a dad shows up and assaults somebody. We've all seen like videos and heard stories like that. So for me, it's like, you're a sore loser, you can't get it done. And then you go on this weird, alternative reality warping of what transpired. And I know it's going to come back as like, oh, I did people a favor of getting rid of him. You know what I'm saying? You all hate him, and granted, right, even in our podcast, we're kind of disappointed about, his championship run. I'm more of like, his championship run has been lackluster, but look at what's going on around him. If those things weren't going on around him, maybe we would have more to talk about and
well,
more
and
excited.
it's
You
never
know,
a bad thing to have too much of the table. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
and I think that's the time in which Cody came back. Like it was in the midst of a lot of other things going on.
mhm.
And so he came back, like 3 years ago. And when he came back and it was all, about the whole story thing and all that nonsense. And like, and now that we've, like, I hate to say we're finished with Cody, but like, he accomplished what he came back for. And now it's kind of just like, you're just here, and like, there's so much going on because realistically, Roman is the draw. Okay, like Roman Reigns has been the draw for over 4 years, and I mean, he's main evented WrestleMania more than anybody else. He's and so he has this resume greater than Cody's story, like. And so everything that Roman is in is absolute gold, whether there's a belt or it's just what he does. And so, like it sucks, Cody. I'm sorry. Like you got what you wanted. You got your title, whatever. You had your moment. But the problem but like, there's a difference between having a moment and having a storyline. And so you can have the moment you wanted, but the problem is that like, but what is the moment? What is the story beyond the moment? Because now like it's cool because everybody loves Cody because he came back and and he's a likable person. I mean, it's just like you said, there's so much circling him right now that like it's kind of watering down his reign. I mean, and it's not a knock against him. I mean, he's dealing with the cards he was dealt. It's just you know, he's holding 4 10s and Roman's holding 4 aces. I mean, you're in the game, but you're not the top game. You're not the winner. I mean, you're not like the top guy. And yeah, like I said, maybe Roman doesn't have those time frames left, but like, you know, we're just thinking long term. I mean, obviously, NXT is the future, obviously, because obviously that's how the stuff goes. So, I mean, we'll play the wait and see game, and I think that's just kind of how it goes because like we can think these thoughts and we can think about these storylines and think of what we want, but at the end of the day, we get what we get and we like it. Okay, like, I mean,
but I, you know,
but we don't hate it. Like, I mean, we might like not really like that it's happening, but like when you start long-term story booking and you start seeing things come full circle, that's when you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Because like the same thing with like, with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre and and all these things that like have circled for so long, So I mean, wait and see. We will always wait and see. So, we'll just put a proverbial pin in it and, we'll see what happens, tomorrow and Friday. And, I mean, essentially we're kind of on the road to Netflix, we'll call it. So, and, I think if Netflix better freaking deliver. That's all I'm going to say. Like, if this pilot episode does not make me just ecstatic, I'm going to be like, kind of missed it. But that's just me. That's not everybody,
right,
and opinions may vary, and not everybody likes everything that's just WWE, but we love, like, we're all under the we like WWE umbrella, okay? Like, we might not what happens all the time underneath the umbrella, and like, but again, it's wrestling, it's entertainment, and it's just fun to be on the ride, honestly. Like, it's fun to digest it with you guys, like just the thoughts. I mean, it's makes it interesting, right? I mean,
right.
kind of like when I called my shot with Drew McIntyre, or like, it's like, where's Drew McIntyre? Where's Drew? Oh, there he is.
There, yeah.
There
Well,
he
you
is.
did call
Yeah.
your shot, so kudos to that. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it's been an interesting year of WWE, to say the least. It's been an interesting year.
Well, and and it's we're so packed right now. Like, I mean, we're packing, like, we've packed so much in the suitcase to the end of the year that like the next year comes around, and like I said, like we have 4 weeks of just pure enjoyment that's just gonna go, you know. And so like I'm looking forward to it. I think, but like I said, if Netflix doesn't deliver, man, I mean they will.
They'll get a lot of angry fans like us.
I need to swallow championship rings, but
Yeah.
but no, I think they will, because like John Cena's supposed to be. He said he's supposed to be coming back like technically before the beginning of the year.
Yeah, sometime this month he's supposed to be there.
So I mean, and I don't think, obviously he's not brand specific, so
You can go anywhere.
Just a small pipe dream, but like CM Punk, John Cena last match.
You know what? I'm 100% for it. Maybe he'll take him with him.
CM Punk can get his main event match. Because they're gonna put John Cena in the main event. They're not gonna put a mid card. They're not gonna put a mid PLE. But all right, well, we'll wait and see. So hope everyone is having a fantastic year. Hopefully you guys have a better next year. This is the Lockdown Podcast. Peace.
Yeah.